How's everybody doing? Awesome.
Did you guys dial up a little more pressure today? It seemed like you were getting some, I think, on defense.
No, as the defense installs more and more, obviously there is a pressure package that's involved in there, and it's you saw it all in one period right there. That's just a third down period, so it was a little bit of pressure, a little bit of coverage, but it felt that way.
Robert, you've obviously seen what Lawson can do in games, not necessarily on a practice field, but do you have any sense for, is he taking his game to another level? It just seems like he's unblockable out here. Is he taking his practice game to another level, or is this normal for him?
He does it to everybody. You watch the tape, he beats everybody. I think he was top 3 in pressures and quarterback hits, so it's not foreign to him to win. What's cool though is his work ethic and the way he goes about his day-to-day process. I mean, he is relentless with his body. He's relentless with his work ethic. He is an absolute professional, and there's the old saying, "Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard." And this dude is just, not only is he talented, but he works his absolute butt off, and because of it, you see results.
How was Zach's hand? Looked like he banged his hand on the helmet.
Yeah, he's fine. Got a little scratch. We got to be more careful around the quarterback, but he's good.
We've seen some really good things from the offensive line in terms of run blocking, where guys have been sprung. We've seen Tevin break free, Michael break free. It seems like they have been struggling in pads and out of pads with pass protection. I mean, today I think there were 5 or 6 sacks. I know you guys are bringing up the pressure a little bit, but is there a little bit of a concern, and how do you balance the offensive line is struggling with pass protection, but also the defensive line is getting home?
Yeah, there's you could flip it around on the defense too, right? And that they're getting run blocked, but they're not, and teams are able to run the ball. And if they're able to run the ball, they're probably staying on schedule to 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 3s, which makes your pass rush render useless. So they're competing. These both groups are competing, and they're going to have a great opportunity as the preseason moves along to play different D lines, different offensive lines, and be able to compete against different people. So to answer your question, I'm not concerned at all.
Did you know this about Carl before you signed him? Did you know how relentless he was?
You hear about the character, you hear about stuff, you do a lot of research, and credit to Joe and his staff, and you don't just pass out dollars to someone because they make plays. There's got to be a marriage in terms of philosophy and what you want out of that player. And every phone call we made, he exemplifies everything that we covet in a player, and so it's very easy to hand out big paychecks to people who represent themselves like he does.
Do you believe that your defensive scheme and the way that you use that position will get more out of him than what he got and was able to do in Cincinnati?
He's already. I mean, I get like sacks are such a. I mean, that's what we all gear into is sacks. But when you're disrupting the quarterback, you're disrupting the game, and it's a two-way street now. I've said it before. The D-line's job is to disrupt the quarterback. The back end's job is to make sure that quarterback hitches by playing tight, aggressive coverage. And if that ball hitches, if that quarterback hitches looking to number 2, number 3, number 4, that's where the D-line comes back into play and making them pay a price for holding on to it. But Carl, he's one of those guys that he's going to transcend scheme. He enters, he's going to continue to disrupt. Now, how much can we do for him in terms of allowing that hitch to happen so he can bring the quarterback down?
Are you aware of how historically difficult it has been around here to get a big-time pass rusher? It's been a while.
I think it's historically hard in general. There's not a lot of they're like. I always argue that for every quarterback you need two great edge rushers, and they're hard to come by. Like there's good edge rushers around the league. Don't get me wrong, but and there's a lot of good quarterbacks around the league. But the ones that transcend the game, like they're just like they're rare through the history of time, and but to be able to get one in this building like Carl, I mean it's awesome, especially with the push that we should be able to get from the middle of the defensive line and all that. So.
How have you seen Zach handle all this? Like you said yesterday, it's going to get worse before it gets better. How is he handling not having great days necessarily?
Oh, he's awesome. I mean, he asks questions. He's in the D coordinator's office asking questions about scheme, and he's an absolute sponge, learning from mistakes, he's trying stuff. A lot of stuff you see is he's testing what he can and can't get away with, which I think is awesome. The kid's gonna be fine. So he's he's going through a process, and what I love about it is he's deliberate in his process and how he's trying to find ways to get better. But like I said, there's things that he's trying. He really doesn't care about the noise. He doesn't care about any of it. He's focused on trying to get himself ready to be the best quarterback in the league, and we're all in love with this process.
Robert, Elijah Moore, does he remind you of anybody that you've seen?
Man, I don't know. I don't want to put a name on him right now. Elijah Moore is what we expected with regards to his work ethic, his mentality, and his deliberateness in the way he practices. And I'm not going to put a name on him or what he reminds me of, but I can tell you that he is extremely versatile. It is very, very important to him, and he strains like no one other, especially for a rookie to come in the league and do what he's doing here in training camp. Really excited for him to get out in preseason.
Was there one wild play when you were studying him before the draft, or one wild game that stood out to you?
No, he had probably one of the greatest pro days ever, and his tape spoke for itself. I mean, every game he made plays, but it was the same thing that we had with Carl. You know, the more people you talk to, the more it was evident that this dude represents everything you want out of a player. You covet what this guy represents, and so for us, it was a no-brainer. Like I said, he was going to be a discussion at 23. So we thought no way in hell that he would get out of the first round, and when he did, you guys all saw the reaction. So it's
what makes him a punt return threat?
You know, he's versatile. He can do it all. His ability to track the ball in the air. You know, he's a dynamic player that kind of can do everything. So that he's a playmaker.
With Zach, he is a guy that. With Zach, he's a guy that obviously the spotlight's going to be on, and I know you said it's going to get worse before it gets better, but for the last several practices, ever since I've won in front of the fans, it really hasn't been. There have been flashes of good, but it really hasn't been like one of those top to bottom great practices. You see him in the meeting rooms, you see him in the locker room, you see him all these. Can you get a sense that it's close? Can you get the sense that this is about to go from worse to better?
So no, it's the reality is like the result is, especially in training camp, is a much bigger deal for you guys than it is us. It really is. It's like his process is exactly where we want it to be. His study habits are exactly where we want it to be. His demeanor out in the practice field is exactly where we want it to be. The result is, I mean, that's a pacifier to make people happy. But he's going in the direction that he needs to go. He's got the right mindset. He's doing everything that he needs to do, and when it clicks, it clicks. So.
LaMarcus Joyner's been around the ball a lot. When you were looking at him as a free agent, did you see him as a guy, a safety who was just out of position last year? And how did you kind of envision him in your defense?
You know, so we had LaMarcus at the crossover games at the Rams, and being able to go against him and just listen to the way Kyle always spoke about him being a heck of a safety. And I can't speak for how he was played at the Raiders, but for us, we just have a certain style that we look for out of that free safety position. And when he was available, it was, he fits that Jimmy Ward type. He fits what we ask guys to do, and at that spot. So, so yeah, him playing free safety and doing it at a high level was an easy vision for all of us.
Take a couple more.
Did Hardy get injured today?
Yeah, he's being monitored for a hip strain, and so he's. I don't have any other details other than that.
What have your impressions of Hamza been?
Hamza's been really good. Both those kids, Sherwood and Hamza, both those rookie guys, safeties that were converting the linebacker. Their transition has been seamless. Hamza looks fantastic. He's got a lot of energy to him. It's a matter of continuing to learn the game and learn the process and learn all the little nuances that separate great players. But and just taking one day at a time. So he's doing a good job.
It looks like Mims is getting more opportunities this week. Is that a result of what you've seen from him?
No, he's, I was looking out there and and I saw him running with the ones, and I'm like, the media's going to ask about whether or not he's running with the ones. He's been running with the ones here and there. Like these guys are on rotation. Like I said, it is what you guys are recognizing, and the narrative is they're all in the same boat. The only ones who roll with the ones unconditionally, you got Corey Davis, and I want to say Keelan and Jameson. Otherwise, everyone's rotating and everyone's getting their reps. Same thing at running back. Same thing at D-line, linebackers, safeties, corners, and all of it. So, but yeah, he did really. It felt like he had a really nice practice today. Obviously, we'll go back and see the tape, but you know, he's working his tail off, and the harder he works, the more he puts in, the more opportunities obviously he's going to get. But yeah, he's part of the rotation.
We've talked a lot about Elijah, obviously, but why was it important to bring Jamison back?
Say it one more time.
To bring Jamison back.
Jamison Crowder, man, he's an unbelievable football player. Now Elijah, he's got versatility. He's not just a slot. He can play the X, he can play the F, he can do a lot of different things. Jamison, his veteran presence, especially in that room dealing with a rookie quarterback, to have his veteran presence, him and Berrios. You can never have enough good football players on your roster, so to find ways to get him back in the fold was pretty easy.
I'm glad you were thinking about us out there.
I'm always
Pretty
thinking
much
about
a
y'all, man. I love y'all. I'll see y'all.